Yeah. Okay. So yesterday we were discussing about few things, right? How playbook works and how we can speed up the playbook, like parallelism versus serial. I mean, parallelism means or forks also. That is also fine. So we discussed all these things, right? Today we'll have a new topic, something called rules. Let's say so far we have seen playbooks, right? Correct. We have seen playbooks and we write a playbook in ML file and we use it, which is fine. But imagine, let's say, of course, so we have written playbooks maybe 20 lines or 30 lines, which is less only, right? But imagine we have playbook with 1,000 lines. What happens now? If you have 1,000 lines, let's say this install.yml is there. So this is hardly 30 lines. What if it has like 1,000 lines? And let's say indentation, I just did it for something, I gave it wrong. What happens is, see, everything has to follow same indent. The whole file has to, whole playbook, sorry, whole playbook has to follow same indentation. So if something is wrong, what happens now? Let's see if this works or not. What is that file? Yeah, install. So you don't need to run it. There is something called hyphen hyphen syntax check, which will check the syntax. Hyphen hyphen syntax hyphen check. If you remove this, just execute this, it will execute the playbook. You know it already. Hyphen hyphen syntax check, which will check the syntax. Or hyphen hyphen check also there, which will dry run. Dry run means it won't execute, but it will show you what it's going to do. These are just two basic commands I want to tell you, but that's it. So what happens here is, see, it's saying syntax wrong. Just one syntax wrong, one line or two lines we missed it. Due to that, the whole file is not executing. Correct? That's what's happening so far. Correct, right? See, what's happening is just one mistake, maybe one small indentation mistake. Let me correct it again. Sorry. So it's stopping the whole playbook. Let's check the syntax now. Still something wrong is there. See, 46. Okay, yeah, got it. No, it should work. So before running, always do hyphen hyphen syntax check. Which will show like this if it is all good. So yeah, coming back to this thing, if we have one file, we will be keep on modifying that file, and we have to make sure whatever syntax we followed on the line one, same syntax has to be followed on each and every lines below that. Okay, for a few lines it is good, but imagine the lines are increasing, which is difficult to manage also. Which is difficult to manage just one file because see 10,000 lines. Let's say 1,000 lines. Let's forget about 1,000 also. Let's just have 100 lines. To go through that and to figure out the issue where the syntax error is, of course it will show you, but imagine now line 46 it is throwing error because we followed some syntax. Below that also we followed the same syntax as this line. It means from line 46 you have to change everything, which is too bad. Because why this happens is that's how it works. That's how a playbook works. Because we have a playbook where we'll define host variables, task handlers. other things, whatever, everything is there in a single file. That's why all these things happens. Because it became difficult to maintain this file. It became difficult, to maintain the structure, I mean the syntax and everything. So what we did is there any way to, overcome these things? So instead of writing a single file, let's keep them in a separate. Like let's say I'll keep variables in a separate file. I'll keep tasks in separate file, or I'll keep handlers in separate file. Is there any way to do that? Yeah, that's when the topic comes called roles. Ansible roles. Ansible roles. Got it. So this roles, what happens is it is an to keep it simple, it is a folder. It's a folder with the multiple folders inside it. What does that mean? Multiple folders inside. For each and every thing, whatever we write in playbook, let's say tasks, wheres, handlers, and everything, it will give you separate folders, where you can write them separately. A role is a structured way of, you know, to separate your tasks, your handlers, your variables, and blah blah everything. It will give you folder structure, directory structure, so that we can main instead of single file, we can separate that playbook into smaller parts and we can store it. Once you create a role, you will understand easily. So with this rule, what happens is it's now, as I mentioned, it will give separate files for each and everything. Let's say variables in one file, tasks in one file, handlers in one file. Let's say if the syntax is wrong in the task file, it won't affect the other files, right? Because they are now independent, they are separate, they are independent now. It won't affect the other things. But in now what's happening here, it is failing because everything in the same file. Got it? But if they are separate, they don't depend on each other. Correct? That's why this role concept came. Because we have like we want to maintain its we want to make sure that they don't block each other. But again, still we want to do the task. At the time this role comes. Very simple directory structure. We can able to create our roles. There is something called Ansible Galaxy. Let me open. Ansible Galaxy is like a repository, actually, GitHub repository, something like that. You can say GitHub, yeah, you can say GitHub repository, where it will have all so many, roles. See, so many will be there. See, so many are there. You can see 36,000. No, let's go to next page. Something, so many are there. Maybe Nginx, something. I'm just, see, there are so many things where what happens is these are all the roles which they have created. Open one. See, there is a command already where you can install this role. What happens now? This role, whatever, he created it. I mean, this user, whoever is there, he created this role. It will come to you directly. Open the GitHub repository. What happens? This is the GitHub repository. And if you observe, this is the role. Don't worry about all these files. Just, we'll get it. So tasks folder is there. I go to task folder. There is something called main.yml. So all the tasks install something. It's already there. See these commands and everything. Nginx are there. See the handlers. Handlers also main.yfl. See restart, reload Nginx something. What else? Variables are not there. Okay, defaults are there. Defaults main.yml. This is for variables. See, this is how we define the variables, right? See, like this, there are pre-built roles are available. Take anything, not just Nginx. Maybe come on, What do you want? Which role you want? Maybe Jenkins, because you want to install Jenkins through Ansible. Let's search it. See, so many are the Jenkins. This guy, we have Jenkins. See, so many are there. You can download whatever you want. Now, what I'm trying to say is, so there is something called Ansible Galaxy where users we can able to push their roles and we can able to download it, use it directly without writing from scratch. Or if you don't want to use any of them, we can create a role from scratch, which is completely fine. Got it? So let's say I don't want to use any of these roles. I want to create my own role. Of course, this command, use this command, Ansible Galaxy role install. What will give? Will give Nginx for sample. I mean, okay, Nginx is owned by someone else. Okay. See, it's owned by downloading blah 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 blah. Ignore this. It's failed to download because tell us digital something that Nginx is owned by this one. It means there is already a role with the name Nginx. That's why it's trying to download from Ansible Galaxy, from this Galaxy website, because that's a repository. Let's use different name because well, of course we can download, you can use the role, but let's create our own thing, right? Nginx maybe test. Let's see. Of course, I okay, got it. It's fine. Let's use Nginx. What happens again? Starting role installation process. Okay, it's already installed. Okay, it's okay. Let's create a role from scratch. Of course, see, let's go to etc Ansible roles. Okay, it's not there. So what happens is it will download a role. You can able to download a role like Ansible Galaxy install. Sorry, this one. Ansible Galaxy install role. Sorry, role install and whatever the name, the correct name you can able to use to download, or you can copy the command directly, which is fine. Or let's say you want to create your own role from scratch. I mean, I don't want, let's say, predefined role. It means if you download this role, what happens? Everything will come, right? Whatever the code you have written, everything will come. But I don't want that. So then what to do? I just want the structure to be created. Structure means how to is it there here? Let's go to repository. Just GitHub repository here. This is the structure. I mean, it's yeah. This forget about all these files. Remember, observe the folders: defaults, handlers, meta, templates. So what happens is these are all the structures. This is the structure of a role. I think see, observe here. This will be easy to understand. So templates, tasks, meta, default. There will be handlers. There will be where's folder. Of course, it's not X because he deleted it. So what's happening here is when you create a role. Of course, we haven't created it. We'll do that. When you create a role, all these folders will come. Defaults, meta, tasks, templates. There will be handlers. There will be tests. There will be where's. All these folders will come because it will give you structure like that. Imagine, right? Tasks, we know the what is task, we know what is handlers. For now, we'll write everything in one file, right, in Ansible playbook. But we don't want that, right? So now if observe here, it gave you separate directory. In the directory, there will be usually there will be a file called main.yml. This is where we can write our tasks. See all the tasks like this, we can able to write it. All the tasks. This we'll discuss tomorrow. What is include tasks? But yeah, it's just whatever the task is there, we wrote it. Like that, we can able to define. Or let's say defaults. Defaults is used to define the variables. Observe the variables here. See, that's how we define, right? colon key colon value like this. See, so everything now have a separate file. Why? Imagine now in the defaults, I mean in the variables file, you give something wrong. Maybe instead of is equal to, you give some is equal, sorry, instead of colon, you give is equal to, let's say, is equal to, which is not allowed, obviously. What happens is now roll only throws error in this file. In the defaults main, there is an error. Please check it. It does not fail the whole thing. You don't need to change the task file right now just because roll, I mean, defaults have some error. Correct? Because now why they are separate files, they are independent now. You don't need to change whatever this template is. We'll discuss what is templates. So whatever this tasks or meta, we don't need to change because the issue only in the defaults. It means we have to change only the defaults. That's why. This is why one of the advantage I mean why we use Ansible roles because they are independent. Got it? So that's how Ansible directory structure. I mean Ansible role gives you directory structure. I mean separate sorry, folder structure. And then what happens? We can able to write our own thing. So first, let's create our own first. Mm, so what we tried is Ansible role install, right? So when you do install, what happens? It is trying to look in Ansible Galaxy, this repo with this Nginx name. It's trying to look into that and it will try to figure it out. But we don't want that, right? Of course, we want to write it from scratch. Then what the hell we need to do? Ansible Galaxy, keep you in it. Give some anything name, maybe Nginx something, Nginx test. In case if you want to push your role to Ansible Galaxy, you just create an account and push it. Same thing as GitHub, like you can able to push it, but it's always make sure the unique name because Nginx test maybe already exist. You give your own unique name for the role if you want to push it. If you don't want it, ignore it, that's fine. But yeah, Ansible hyphen Galaxy init Nginx, which will create a role. Say role created successfully. Nginx test, where is it? Yeah, see here, Nginx test. See, these are all the folders, right? apt install. This is a Linux package actually, which will show you the directory structure in a tree format. You'll see it. So it will show you the folders, the files inside it. Observe here we have, see, in the defaults there is main dot. In the files there is nothing obviously. Handlers, meta, tasks, templates, nothing, tests, wars. Everything is upper directory now. Got it? Of course, you know two things here. Define our task in tasks, of course, and handlers in handlers. We'll see remaining things. What are these things? What the hell they do like that? So of course, you know the defaults also. Defaults is where we store the variables, which is fine. Defaults. Hope you can see my screen. I mean, it's blue color like that. That's fine. Wait a minute. Let me increase. Can you see now? Yeah, sorry. Defaults is where we store the variables. But there is one more section called vars. What the hell is this? Vars also will store the variables. Both are same. But why there are two places? Both have different priorities. Let's say I defined a variable called name package is equal to Nginx here in the defaults. But in the vars I defined the package is equal to Apache. You know what happens? Vars has the highest priority. So the package will be taken from the vars. It means it will take the Apache from the vars because it has the highest priority. Default has the lowest. Unless there is no variable called package in the vars, it will take from defaults. Got it? We'll see it. We'll see in practical, you'll understand it. Let's say vi default main.yml will give something. Remove it. Package is equal to Apache or engine, anything, let's say Nginx. Now, by default, when you execute or install something role, it will look for the package, obviously, right? It will look for both. If it, the package variable is found in both, it will take from vars. If it is not found in vars, it will take from defaults. Not from defaults, take it from vars. So what we give in the defaults package Nginx we give, right? In vars main.yml, give something else. Package Apache Apache 2. This is the one. So now this vars has the highest priority. That's why then Apache 2 will be taken into consideration, not Nginx, whatever we wrote in defaults. So there are two. There are two. You can use anything, any one. Obviously, don't use two. Don't mix up two. But there, this is what the difference is. Got it? Next, what is files? It's an empty folder. What are the files is? Let's say you want to copy some files through Ansible role. Of course, you want to copy for files from through Ansible playbook, you give a path, source, and destination where you want to copy. But in role, if you want to store the static files to be copied, you have to keep it here. You have to keep it in the inside files because Ansible role cannot read the files outside your folder. Let's say I want to copy some index.html. I think here it is there, but Ansible role by default cannot do it. So you have to copy it or move it, whatever, to role and files. Then only I copied where is files. See index.html. Then only Ansible role can read it and it can able to move it. Obviously, handlers. This is fine. We'll write it. And meta is nothing but metadata about your role, like mm, who created this role, the author, blah blah blah, and other information. What is the version of uh, this role and all the unnecessary inform for necessary information. You can able to easily see like this. Who is the author? Give your name, description, what does the role do, what is the company, information about the role. See, let's say you give you push the role. Some other guys wants to use it. How the hell they know about it? What this role will do? They don't know it, right? Of course, they can't go through each line to figure out. That is, they can do it, but too much time. Instead, you gave every information in the meta main.yml and as well as readme file. They'll read it and they'll okay, this role is about to install Nginx or something on Ubuntu, blah blah blah, whatever. They can figure it out. That's why in meta they'll give information about role, who created it, what is about, which company role it belongs to, blah blah blah, all these things. You can see meta here also. Open it. See, author is Dimitri Maxaka. It seems description deploys a configure Promax backup server, including repositories, packages, database, database user, and ACL management. See, license summit, Ansible version 2.1, platforms. This is supported Blastform, Galaxy tag. See, lots of things. Whatever this role does, you can able to give it in meta. For now, just a sample role. It's okay. I don't want to give any. Sorry, I don't want to give any an author name and all because we don't push it. But in organization, make sure you store it. Correct? Make sure you do it. Of course, task, what is task. And of course, where the variables we are discussed. Test. Test is something like, sample playbooks we can able to test. So let's say nothing will be there here. If you go to Nginx test stat test YAML, so this is like this test folder will be used with to test the role with the sample playbooks. Of course, we don't use this. See, inventory file, just like how we have in it default inventory file, etc Ansible host, like this. So test folder used to test this role. Of course, we'll test it in a different way. Not we don't write anything here. Alright, this is fine. Finally, templates. Templates I kept last because I want to explain. See, these are also used to copy the files, just like we have files, right? Where we copy the files and whatever we want to copy files inside, through the role, we'll copy into the files and we do it. That's what I told. Similarly, templates also does the same. But why there are two? The thing is, templates is used to copy dynamic files. What does it mean, dynamic files? See, files, what we're doing, we're just copying one file and we copy it. It's a static file. But let's say we have a configuration. Imagine Nginx configuration only. We have Nginx configuration where it requires values dynamically from that row, from the node, the Ansible node, let's say. Or we want to pass Nginx configuration maybe inside that, some port number or some path, something, whatever, or, some configuration we want to pass it. Depends on the role or depends on the environment. At the time, we can maintain separate files, right? That's why we write a template that is called a Jinja 2 templates. Don't need to worry, will it's easy, we can able to write it. So we write a template and we keep it here. So while executing playbook depends on what values we pass. This will templates, whatever the file is present inside template, this will read it and this will append the values. I know it will be a little confusing. Once we do it, it will be easy. Don't worry. Got it? So files is to copy the static files. We don't change anything here, right? We just whatever is present will copy here. But in templates, whatever we want to copy and we want to change the file data, whatever inside it while copying, we'll keep in templates, which are called dynamic files. Dynamic file means because we are changing the values on the fly. That's why we'll see a sample, thing. Don't worry. That's why I kept templates at last. We'll see it. So for now, let's write our tasks and everything, whatever it's there. So where to go? We already wrote variables, which is fine. We already wrote files. We copied static files. Next, task and handler. Go to task. Sorry. Of course, main.yml. This is a default file. Main.yml will you can able to use main.yml, which is fine. Or you can able to create your own file also if you don't want to use main.yml, and you can able to write there also, which is completely fine. Anything is fine. But for now, yeah, let's choose main.yml. Write your task. No need to write host at all. Just the task, whatever is there. So what will have task install the the package is there, right? So it will obviously it will take from the defaults and wheres, whichever has the highest priority. Which has the very highest priority? Obviously, wheres. It will take from there. The same syntax I'm using, right? See, I'll use the same thing only. Same thing only. Don't worry about anything. I'll use the same thing. Let's see. So package. Let's give codes. What is the apt, right? Name is equal to obviously now package. State is equal to install. Correct. Next, I want to write an when condition. When Ansible underscore OS underscore family. This, you know how we discussed it yesterday. BIAN, I believe, sorry. So this conditions by default few things. This Ansible key and value we found from Ansible facts. We say yesterday, or you can give anything nowadays. If let's say env variable is their package name is equal to nginx, then only install. If its package is equal to Apache something, don't install it. Like that also we can able to anything I told you, right? So don't worry about all this. So install what's next? I want to copy the that index file. Copy copy the index. Oh sorry, wait, name, right? First I have to give the task name. And what is that copy module source? Just give index.html because I told you, right? What happens? 1 minute, sorry. So this will, if you want to copy using a role, any file, static files, you have to keep in files folder directory. We have it already inside the role. We copied it already. So src is equal to index.html we gave means it will by default look into the files folder only and copy it. If it is does not exist in the files, it won't copy. We'll see that also, don't worry. So I just want to install it and copy the files. And of course, if I'll notify this one, notify syntax should be notify restart Nginx. So what happens now? I'll write a handler with the same name restart Nginx. So if this task is changed, it will notify the handler which will execute, obviously. Correct? This is what handler is about. But yeah, let me see the syntax, how the notify should be there. Yeah, notify is correct. Cool. Now let's write handler. Where to write? Obviously, we have handlers, right? Main.yml will be there in handlers. No need to write handlers tasks like that. Just directly write it because it knows that it is a handler. If you wrote something in handlers directory, it knows if it is task. If you wrote something in the task folder, all are fine. No need to write handlers colon enter again the name and everything. Just directly write it. Restart Nginx. Of course, service name is equal to the package. PACKGE to yes. State, sorry, state is equal to restarted. That's it, right? It will do it. So the name, see here, whatever I gave in the notify, it has to be same, right? Correct? That's what we discussed. If let's say restart Nginx one is there, some different is there, it won't trigger this handler. The notify, whatever the name we gave, and the task, the handler name should be same in order to trigger. And now that's it, right? That's all we have in playbook also. So far, whatever we have written, right? Of course, this tags and all, it's okay, you know it already, why to write it again. But overall, this is what install, of course, okay, update package is there. If you want, you can write it, that's fine. You know it will happen update. So now, you may think now, the role is ready. So we return variables, okay, tasks and handlers. Now how to execute this role? Templates we'll see later, don't worry. It's a thing, separate, we'll see. But how to execute the role now? Directly is not possible. Through playbook only we need to execute it. Let's create a new role dot ym. Let's create a new um, playbook where we'll just write 2 lines. What are those 2 lines? You know, hyphen hyphen hyphen. This is fine. Hyphen space host. On which host you want to run this playbook? Let's say all for now. Of course, become yes. Why become yes? I mean, become yes means of course I want to run this as root user, right? Why? Because we have installations, apt installations. Normal user Ubuntu cannot do that. That's why we are becoming sudo. If I don't use this, what happens? It will say permission denied. Now all one line we have to do is roles. Sorry, hyphen space. What is the role name? Nginx hyphen test. That's it. That's it. When you execute this playbook, it obviously it will run all the host. What it will run? This role it will run. It will execute. That's it. These are all the things we need to use. Roles, and if you have multiple roles, line by line like this, hyphen space, the role name we can able to give like this. That's how you define the you write a role and you call the role. Now what you do? Ansible hyphen playbook. Of course, what is that role? Hyphen syntax hyphen check. Let's see what happens. All good. Of course, anyway, there are two lines. Hyphen check. Let's see what happens. See, see, it's not really executing whatever we wrote, but it's trying. But it is saying it will just do dry run. Dry run is something like it won't run, but it'll show you what it's going to do. Dry run. Dry run. That's why this in Ansible this is called hyphen check. See, I wrote something wrong because I gave install. It should be latest or present. Correct. And observe here, it took the Apache, the package name, because vars in the vars we defined Apache. See why? Because even though Nginx we mentioned in the defaults, vars it took from vars because vars has the highest priority. That's why this is the example. Tasks main.yml. If there is no install, there should be present or latest. Let's use latest. Correct. Now let's check the syntax. Sorry, no, dry run. Let's dry run it. Now this task will work. See, restart failed. Obviously, it will fail because we haven't installed it, right? That's why it is throwing this error. Why the hell it is throwing Nginx here? I gave it like that. I hardcoded it. Nginx handlers installs the Nginx I gave. Or simply I can give. That's it. Got it. Of course, it will fail because we haven't installed it, right? It will try to start it. It won't work. See, but now yeah, it's working. See, let's let's install now. That's it. It will talk to role, and it will do the task. Same thing. So the same way we execute a playbook. This is also same, except that we wrote all our things in a folder now in a separate files, and we executing that. That's it. That's all we are doing now. That's it. Nginx restart engine was not found. Oh, wait. My bad. See what I gave. Let me show you the error. It's saying the handler request Nginx was not found. Why why? Why? Because in tasks, sorry, in task I gave Nginx restart Nginx, right? Notify. But in handlers, restart the package name, which means restart Apache 2 it will be. Correct? I gave it wrong. That's why see, if there is no handler, it will throw error like this. Tasks tasks main instead of hard coding like this, use the package name here also. So depends on the package name, it will do it. PACKG blah blah. Correct. Now it will get success obviously. Let's execute a role. Sorry, execute playbook, which will execute the role obviously. That's what. Of course, handler did not run because Apache is installed earlier. But it's okay, you got my point, right? What I'm trying to say. And of course, this is copied. Let's change the index file. Let's Nginx files index.html. Write something, whatever it is. Now it should change. Now the task will change. Obviously, handler will run. Let's see. See, So Apache does not exist. Why? Spelling wrong? Yeah, spelling is correct. Install Apache 2. It is fine. Could not find the service. Apache 2. Nah, there is something wrong. It's okay. Let's see Nginx. Not here. This is something from the node level. It's okay. Forget about this debugging. But yeah, you got my point, right? I mean, see now let's focus on role. Whatever the error, this is the Linux error because service is not found. That again a time waste. But yeah, so you got how the role works, right? Except for the templates. Templates we'll see now. But role so far, is it okay? Correct. So this is all good now. But correct, right? I mean, of course. So we have like sorry, what is it? We have files. We did tasks, handlers. Let's clear it. Same thing, right here. Host. Okay. The serial and all we can write it in playbook and variables we wrote it obviously. Of course, you can encrypt and you can give it directly. That is also fine. Tasks we gave it. Handlers also we gave. What we missed. These are all tags and everything. No tagging or this is also one of the tasks. You can able to give it. No worries. Tagging or serial forks. What else? Register to delegate to run ones. All these things you can able to give in the roles. Same thing. No need to change anything. Whatever working here, it will work there also. Got it? Don't worry about anything because you can give anything because this is again I cannot write all these things. That's why I just gave a sample example. That's it. But whatever you write in the role, sorry, in the playbook, everything can be written in playbook. Sorry, in the role. Whatever you write in the playbook, everything can be written in the role. Don't think like we cannot write this or we cannot write this like that. I did not wrote it. That's it. Now let's see the templates how it works and blah, blah, everything. Sorry, what is it? Nginx test templates. Let's take an sample example. What happens? Let's say I want to copy nginx.conf. That's what we are trying to install. Or let's change it to nginx. In the vars main.yml, I'll delete this one. Now what happens? It'll try to install nginx, obviously, because there is nothing in the vars, but there is in the defaults I defined, right, nginx. So it'll install nginx, which is fine. Let's try once again. What is it? Role.yml, right? Apache have some issue. We'll see that later if it is fine. So it's fine. Now it worked. It's okay. Now I want to copy nginx.conf. Of course, what you can do. One minute. What the hell are all these things? Yeah. Let's go to nginx test. So I want to know what happens. I want to copy nginx.conf. Of course, we can keep in files, right? Directly I can keep in files. I can write it, but that's for static content. But my requirement is while copying Nginx, I want to modify it. While copying Nginx, I want to modify it. How do I modify it? Imagine, let's say, sample Nginx file. Let me write it first. Let's go to files. This is not a correct file, but I'm just trying to show you. Server. Mm, listen 80 as an example. Server underscore name test.com. Again, an example, as I told you. Root user slash share slash nginx slash html, yes, index. Forget about what I'm writing. This is the nginx config, but yeah, some default things I'm writing. Don't worry about all this. Yeah, let's think this one. This is the our nginx configuration file. This is the static file, right? It means everything is already present. So if you want to copy this, simply you will keep in here, correct? Obviously, we'll keep in files. What I'll do now, I'll write one tasks in the task main.yml. I'll open it simply. I'll copy the nginx file, which is good. Copy config file. I'll just simply write it. You know this already. src is equal to nginx.conf. That's what our file. Dest slash etc slash nginx. Correct. This is where I want to copy, which is fine. This will work. Let's execute playbook Ansible hyphen playbook role, which will execute the role. Obviously, there will be a new task, which is completely fine. See, copy config file, change. This is the first time we're copying. That's fine. Which is fine. It's copied. Now imagine, let's say nginx. Imagine I don't want to copy like this because I don't want to hard code the values in the nginx conf file. Why? Because while executing it, while executing it, well, let's say while executing the, what is that, role or playbook, I want to pass the values. Got it what I'm saying? Let's move this to templates. So while executing it, I'll pass it as I'll define this file as a variables. Why? Because for one server, maybe the listen port is 80 for one node. For another node, it may be 90, or for some other node, it may be 8,000. The ports are different. So what I do, what I do, instead of hard coding like this, I'll make it variabilized. I'll make it parameterized. It means it has to accept the values from the variables. I'll define a variable. It has to accept the values from variables. Correct? Or let's say to keep it simple, we have inventory file, right? See, these are the variables, right? I'll write one more variable here. Nginx underscore port is equal to 8,000. It means for this host, Nginx port is 8,000. Maybe for some other thing, Nginx port is maybe 8,001. So depends on the host, the port is changing, let's say. At the time, what you do, either define here or you are defining a variable, right? How the Nginx will know that? How the Nginx has to take it? That's where the template comes. So we make it little parameterized. It means we change this file to accept the parameters. We change this file to accept the variables. Then it will take it. So for that, we need to make few changes. First thing is we need to move the file to templates, and we need to change the file name to, the extension will be .j2. Extension .j2. Then only it will identify, okay, this file accepts variables. So we need to check it. That then, role will check it. So nginx.conf.j2 now. Now let's say you want pick up from variables, right? The, that's how we use variables, obviously. Nginx underscore port. Server name also same thing. We'll write blah 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 like this. Maybe this also the path will give. like this. These are fine. So now what's happening is we need to pass these values on the fly. Got it? Where the hell we pass it? Of course, you can pass it directly in the variables, which will obviously take it. We have where's, right? Where's or defaults, whatever it is. Pass it here. What is it? Nginx port, right? Let's say 80. Example, I mean 80. 80. Nginx server underscore name. What is the name? Test.com something will give. Nginx path, right? Slash user slash share slash nginx slash html. Now what happens is this value will be, of course, we passing these variables, right? Now that this nginx.j2 file, this now became Jinja template, Jinja, Jinga, Jinja template, not Ninja. So what happens is this Jinja file now will accept the variables. Nginx port, Nginx server name, okay, root path, okay. This will accept the variables and it will pass it. Let's change it root path, it seems. But by default, Nginx cannot accept the variables, right? Because we haven't parameterized it. Now we made it like this. This can accept the, sorry, Ansible, playbook, role. This will accept the variables now. This will copy. See, some wrong is there. Could not find our access. Why? Because now what is the file? J2, correct? We have to give J2. That's why it's saying Nginx is not found. Nginx test, tasks, templates. We have to change this file. Copy config file J2. Now what we have to give here, dot J2. Give dot J2. Automatically it will go for templates folder. It will give it. Now we cannot copy as directly J2, right? Let's give as nginx.conf. Simple. So what's happening here, guys? This template it is copying. While copying, of course, it is updating the template with the nginx port number, whatever the variables we gave, and it will save as nginx.conf in the destination server. That's what happening here. Let's see. Still something is wrong. Could not find the resource nginx.conf. Where the hell I kept it? Let's see. Oh, it is looking for files. Observe here. See what's happening. It is looking for in the files. Observe here. So home, Ubuntu, Nginx. These are Nginx test, right? See, it is looking for nginx.conf in the files. But what we don't have in the files. We have in templates. It should take automatically. Okay, it's not taking. Then we can do one thing. Let's try. Let's try giving the templates here. Let's see. Hopefully now it should work. You may ask, why the hell you are executing every time you can do syntax check, right? Yes, we can do the same thing. But I did not do it, that's it. But when you write something playbook, always do syntax check. That is the best practice, please. Okay? Don't just directly run on production or anything. Always do syntaxes, then only move on. See now it's copied. How the hell I know it? Let's log into Node. We have the Node, right? Open new command line. The small one is a Node, obviously. Oh, wait. I'm inside Node. Let's go to Nginx. Array. Where is nginx.conf? See, September 5th. Today, right? We copied it. It is UTC timing, obviously. This is the file we copied, right? Of course, this did not took the data. See, data is not copied. It's copied as it is. So we had to see something. We had to see something wrong. Something is wrong. You know why something is wrong? I gave it wrong. Let me show you what is wrong. See what the hell I wrote. Let me show you. Where is it? See, I wrote copy it, but I wrote copy module. I wrote copy module. Copy just to copy the static files. This is a template as I told you. For a template, there is a module, sorry, template like this we have to use. This is how we have to use template. And of course, in the SRC, just keep it like this. Now it will work. Let's see. Let's execute roll again. See, it's changed right now. Now let's open our, see, did it work? As simple as that. These are the values we gave, right? In the variables. Got it? That's how templating works. So on the fly, depends on, on the fly, it will update the file. That's where the scenario, most of the scenarios, it will be like that. Because Nginx, why I told Nginx is because it's easy to understand. There are so many things like this. Maybe a different configuration file, maybe a different file. We want to change, specific lines whenever we copy it to nodes, specific nodes. At the time we do like this. Let's do one more way also. It is Ansible host. We'll define here, blah blah blah. We'll define here engine export and everything. So template should be reading from here if it is works or not. Engine export is equal to 22, obviously. What else? Nginx. Let's keep it. Let's change it. Just HTML because we want to see it right whether it is working or not. See, I'm writing spellings wrong. Let me know if I wrote it. Don't engine export maybe 80 and something. I'm just giving some random things. What the other one? Server name will let's keep it there only. Default. Let's wait. Nginx test. Where's I wrote it right? No, not in where's. In defaults maybe. Defaults. Let's remove these things. Engine export. I already wrote there. Root path. I gave it there. So server name it should take from here. I mean from the defaults and remaining things it should take from inventory file. I mean by default Ansible. I mean it is Ansible host. Got it? Let's see now. Let's see what happens. Of course, run the playbook. Sorry, role. Obviously, we're running the playbook which is executing the role. So both terms are fine. Copy config file. It's changed. Okay, let's see what happens. Let's open our node. Where is, yeah, it came. Open nginx.conf again. See the hell it is. See, it changed, right? That's how it works. See, I have two nodes. Let's say for one node, nginx port should be 80 double eight like this. Another node may be 8080 something. As in, I'm just saying random things. How the hell I need to do that with Ansible? With templating, it will be easy like this. We'll change our nginx.conf for whatever the configuration file into template using our Jinja 2 templates. We make it like this, and then we pass the values either through role or if you want to pass at the node level inventory file, we can able to pass it like that. See how cool it is, right? We can change on the fly. Got it? That's how the templating works. That's why the templating is important because we do like this. We use the templates for everything almost because we have 300 nodes in our organization. 300 nodes means imagine The configurations will be different. Sometimes the configuration will be same for all the things. Sometimes the configuration is different. The network we have to change. So many things will be there. The name, the host name we have to change and everything. How the hell we need to do manually? We use templates, and in the inventory file we pass the variables like that, and it automatically takes it. Got it? That's what Ansible role is about. Got it? Got it? Any doubts so far? Any doubts in the role? No doubts. You can close the call and we'll meet tomorrow, same time. Got it? So, and of course, let me know if you have any doubts in the roles. I think it's mentioned in the document which I shared. Maybe not roles. I don't remember it, but let's check it. If you have roles, please go through it. I don't think I mentioned the templates, I believe. But yeah, let's try once. That's okay. And one more thing, I'm uploading all the videos except Ansible. I upload everything. Once there is a class tomorrow also for Ansible. Once that is done, I'll upload everything by end of tomorrow. Ansible also, okay? Remaining already uploaded in Jenkins. Except Sonar. Sonar, I missed two videos because I haven't recorded it. So please refer the old videos. In that only there will be old videos. Please refer to those. All right. So that's it. Happy Friday. We'll meet tomorrow same time. Bye all. Bye.